This is Dr. Heavenly's Business Prescriptions. And guys, I'm a dentist. I've been a dentist for over 15 years now, and I've made all the mistakes that you can make. And what I'm telling you is, you can have it all. You can have the family, you can have the children, and you can have the career at the same time. Life is about balance. Once you get balance and the right mindset, you can accomplish anything with God. And we're back. Sherman Golden, welcome to Dr. Heavenly's Business Prescriptions. Now, you're from Cleveland, right?
Yes, Cleveland, Ohio. That's me.
And you're a comedian,
yes,
a writer,
yes,
and a producer.
All that.
Now, let's get into the business of things. Okay, we got a black president now.
Yeah, again. 2 times.
Right. So what do you think about that? I mean, back in the day, you know, we would have never thought that there would be.
Nah, not me.
How do you feel? How does your mother feel? How does your grandfather feel about this? I mean, it's got to be a big thing, right?
Yeah, it is a big thing. My family, they think they can just do anything now.
Right. You know, we got a free pass now.
Exactly. And
don't.
Every time my mama miss out on something, like if they call her about her light bill, first thing she said, "We got a black president. I'll pay it when I get paid." I know.
Hey, tell me something about the music business. You're a comedian, you're a writer, you're a producer. Tell me something about that. I always like to give our audience some kind of information to learn something about the different businesses that people do.
Right.
Tell me something about being a comedian.
Well,
how do you become a comedian?
Well, it's not for everybody.
Right. Everybody can't do it.
No, it's not for
I think I can do it.
No, I'm telling you, just because you might be funny, you know, at the cookout.
No.
It's hard.
Okay.
Because you only get one chance. You just can't mess up and say, "Oh, let me start over." No, you got about 5 seconds after you grab that microphone to get their attention.
But you have to have different funny spots. Like within a minute, you get different hits on it, right?
Yes.
I mean, I took a speech class and they say, hey, you got to actually get some kind of emotion, whether it's laughter or something.
Yes.
So many a minute, at least 2 a minute,
Exactly.
correct? Yeah.
Exactly. Now imagine you don't get none.
Oh.
See there?
Yeah.
See?
Especially you standing in front of somebody.
In front of a lot of people. And if you standing in front of 100 people, at least 2 of them gonna say something.
Right.
Remember when that guy hollered to the president, "You a liar!"
Right.
You get one of those. I get one of them every night.
Right.
So my thing, I say, either you gonna enjoy the show or you gonna be the show, because I can make you famous.
Right.
You know,
there you go.
and I'm gonna make him famous.
Right.
So before the show is over with, everybody's gonna remember that guy who.
So you retaliate on the person that actually.
I hurt him bad.
Ooh, yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Because the crazy thing about it, someone be waiting on you. You know,
Do you pick at people that don't say anything?
No,
like,
I got
in the audience
material.
Like up front?
See, the thing is, the guy who interrupts me, I try to hurt him because he done made the audience miss out on 15 minutes of something else I had to say. Yeah. So I got enough
So
material.
give me a joke. Hey, try
I don't
me.
tell jokes.
I mean, well, give me a scenario. Your life is a joke. So you just tell stories.
Yes, I got.
Give me a story.
That's the best stories. I'm gonna tell you the best story I got is when I first moved here. I had no idea the South was this beautiful. Yes.
It is.
Yes. When I left Ohio, we had about 4 inches of snow. When I got to Atlanta, it was 75 degrees. And I told my mama I ain't never coming back. Believe me.
Have you been back?
I go back for like a day.
Not to live.
Yeah,
right,
never to live.
Right.
Oh, no, never. This is it for me.
How long you been here?
I've been here since 1985.
1985.
When 85 was 2 lanes. Yes.
Ain't that when the mothership landed?
Yes. We never had traffic.
Right.
Now we got 15 lanes, and you can't get around the Grady Curve at 9 o'clock.
And they exit to the left and the right.
And the right.
Do they do that in Cleveland?
No, we don't have traffic like that in Cleveland. No. Only in Atlanta.
So tell me something about the business. No, you're a writer. So you write movies, or you just write
movies. I write for different comedians. I wrote for BET.
Okay.
Right now, I'm in the process of doing my movie. I wrote a movie called The First and the 15th.
The First and the 15th.
And yes, you should know what that means.
Right. That's what my bills do. That's what I think. That's on the business.
Those are black holidays.
Right.
You know, that's when the welfare checks and the food stamps come out.
I was thinking about bills. I mean, but I saw EBT card last week.
That is the thing.
I did. They look good too.
cards.
Do you love them?
I wish I could get one. They are. I would give up my visa for an EBT card.
I mean, I grew up. I didn't grow up on food stamps, but I've seen food stamps before. I did not know that they had a card you could swipe.
Yes,
and they give you a PIN number.
They just
like
you got a debit card. Yes. I love them. I seen a woman show out in Kroger's. That's why I want one. And I knew she had the card because she had 2 buggies with like the good food.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a next
exactly.
brand.
And the crazy thing about it, the cashier lady tried to front on her. That's what got me, right? Because she was like ringing up all this food and she knew she wasn't gonna get no money.
Right.
But then she gonna ask the lady, is this gonna be cash or charge? What?
She put on EBT.
She pulled that thing out. You know when you be playing spades and you got the big joker?
Right.
That's how she dropped it. Bam!
Yeah. But the way you know they got an EBT card, because they don't have no toilet paper. Nope. They don't have no paper towel.
They have steak, lobster, shrimp. I'm talking about the good food.
And they get a lot on those cards,
right? Some people get like $600-$700 on them cards.
Wow. Now, you know, I'm not fronting. I mean, a lot of people need, help. I'm just saying, I know some people that don't. And we got to go. We'll be right back. We got to pay some bills. We got to do some commercials.
All right. We're going to use our EBT card to pay for the commercial.
All right. And we're back. Dr. Heavenly's Business Prescriptions. We have an extra special guest here today. We have Margaret McIntyre, and she's a business consultant. Margaret, it's a pleasure seeing you. How you doing? Good. I have a question for you. It's a business question.
Okay.
What are you telling your clients to do as far as the end of the year is concerned, based on maybe the Bush tax cuts in the Section 179? What can we do to prepare if those cuts expire?
Well, first thing I would do is tell them to speak to their CPA.
Right, definitely.
And because their CPA is the person that's directing them towards their numbers, and they're the one that have the tax codes. And anything that's related to the tax codes should come through your CPA. A lot of practices don't look at their profit and loss statement every month, and they don't look at the availabilities of what can be changed.
Right, and so you got to know what you're spending and how much you can spend before the end of the year. Now, based on that, there's a fiscal cliff coming, and I don't know a whole lot about it, but what I do know is that it's a possibility that a lot of our taxes can change, meaning that for the average person, I guess the average person makes about $50,000 a year. Right. They are subject to increases in taxes in excess of $1,700. You can no longer write off you can write off your children, but it's going to be half that. The tax credits for college education, you're going to have a tax, we're not going to have a credit for up to $6,400 in 4 years if the Republicans and the Democrats don't get it together. So in order to save money, Margaret, what would you teach your clients to do to save money outside? Of course, we're going to talk to our accountant because we don't do business advice as far as taxes are concerned. We're just having a discussion. But as far as your clients, get with your tax attorney.
Get with your tax attorney. Get with your financial planner. Sit down with your office managers and look at what the faults that you've done in your practice this year, where have been the hiccups, and how they can be changed. Have you taken advantage to the tax credits of this year regarding equipment?
Right.
Because that's huge in that at the moment. And can you get a group of doctors together and buy supplies in bulk?
Wow.
Yeah.
So if you can get a group of doctors together to buy supplies in bulk, invest in that before the end of the year, so therefore you're paying less taxes.
Wow. Well, somebody like me would think, okay, I'm gonna buy to max out my tax credit for the end of the year, but next year I'm not buying new anymore. I will not purchase any new equipment because I don't have an incentive to do so. So do you think most doctors will feel the same way that I do?
They will, but the other way you can look at it is an entrepreneur like you can look at purchasing another practice.
Right.
So grow your business. Don't stagnate it. Don't stay where you are. Look at towards change. How can you change within your business?
That is exactly right. You hear that?
That's the move.
But now, okay, now let's get into capital gains, because now if I sell my practices, which you know I buy them and sell them, I will have to pay a higher tax. Especially on the goodwill portion of the practice.
I don't feel that's going to come down. I don't think it's going to come to fruition. I think the present government will look for the changes to remain in force.
I agree.
That's what I feel.
I agree.
I think what the people are telling our government at the moment is we don't want taxes where it's going to hit our pockets.
Right.
So the smart thing for them to do is don't touch what is working.
Right.
There you go. That's why we work together. That's why we work together. What I always tell people is get the best people around you.
Yeah,
you got to get good attorney, good consultants, good bankers. If you're in the real estate investors and real estate agents to help you, because you got to keep a great people around you. I always say you're 1/5 of the 5 people that you hang around most.
Right.
So I'm looking for the top 5, and Margaret is in the number.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a nice compliment.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be right back. We got to go pay some bills. Guys, Dr. Heavenly Business Prescriptions, stay tuned.
Thank you. Must have a lot of bills. Business Prescriptions. We got Sherman Goldman and Margaret McIntyre here. Now, me and Margaret were having a conversation when the cameras was off about how we can help people get employment now that, you know, the employment has been down a little bit and we're trying to get people back to work. Now, one thing that she was speaking of and what I interpreted to be is if you want to have your own business and you don't have a job, now is the perfect time to find the industry that you would like to be in and maybe work in that industry, because one of our steps, our business steps, is to work in the industry that you want a business in. So the best way to learn that industry or that business, whether it be dental or whatever, is to come and work. And now that you don't have no job, you have time, to come in and learn. And that's priceless. That's priceless. When I had my first job was McDonald's. The experience I got was priceless. And I talk about it in my book. I mean, McDonald's has a system out of this world. Now, I can make a better hamburger. Let my husband tell it. I can. I can put onions and bell peppers in it. But I don't have a better system than they have, that you can take it worldwide. I went to Paris, Royale with cheese. The same thing down to putting it in the bag, because in McDonald's, I don't know if y'all ever worked at Mickey D's, but you have to get the food first before you get the money. It's the way you put the stuff in the bag. Everything's down to a system. You can't mess it up. You can be 4 years old, you can't mess it up. So that's what I'm talking about. If you could learn the system of the industry that you're in before you actually get in the business, that will save you hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in the long run. Do you agree? It's not only happening with people looking for employment at the moment, it happens with people coming out of college. Because with many large corporations, 500 corporations, they're looking for that right person out of college. So for a period of either 3 or 6 months, they take on these students for internships, and they're going to pick the cream of the crop. So the question is, if people want to get into an industry, go in and offer your services for free of charge to learn, is this the type of service and industry that I wish to be part of?
So how long is free of charge?
How long can they, it doesn't matter.
Until you get the job.
But what if they don't hire you after all of you are free of charge?
Well, you learned by the work that you did while you were there. Look, I have people that come in my office all the time as interns. They tear stuff up. They don't know what they're doing. They throw things away that aren't supposed to be thrown away. So it's costing me to have you there. So actually, you should be paying me
for that education.
For that education, in my opinion. Now,
it's like Dr. Heavenly wanted somebody to help with their appointment scheduling. And I said to her, let's bring in somebody and train them. That way you're training them the way you want them to be and give them the necessary skills rather than somebody that may not have the skills that they require.
That's like the lady that was doing your hair and makeup. You said she was frying chicken when you met her. So now she's
frying fish. She was frying fish.
So now she's in training.
See, she's training the fish. She's doing pretty good.
I hope it's not catfish.
So let's speak about college now. Okay, we know that college is really expensive. It's actually way more than when I went and when everybody else went. Would you advise someone who's only getting an undergrad? Now, I'm big on education. Don't get me wrong. I think that everybody should be educated. But based on the price of college right now, you're coming out
get yourself the necessary skills.
All of this money. And really you don't have a job. I mean, what advice would you guys give to somebody coming out of college? And if they're going to a professional degree, that's what I would push you towards. But if you're going to get a 4-year degree, is that helping you at all? Or I'm going to say even a master's. Because when I look at someone and I'm going to hire them and they tell me that they have a master's degree, I'm thinking like, okay, she wants some money. I could do this with a, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
You ain't even got to have a high school diploma really to do what I need you to do as far as answering the phones and stuff like that. So if you come to me and you say, hey, I have my master's and I want to work in your, I'm thinking like, okay, she want big money. Okay.
Right.
Am I wrong to
Yes,
think
you
that?
are.
Yes.
Okay. You're prejudging.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're right. Well, I'm sorry. Am
could
I
be
by
s-
myself?
No.
It could be
You
somebody
thinking
that
right?
has a master's, but they don't have that foresight to see what they can do with their master's,
Right.
so they're looking for an alternative.
I got
Okay.
a friend that he has a master's. He works at Foot Locker.
Right. But I would think you would be overqualified and you would not be happy
And most of the time they
working
don't
at
hire you
Foot Locker
because-
based on the
exactly.
money that you owe
Exactly.
and the job. That's just
But that's the
not
only job he could get right now.
right.
We're back to what you said earlier. Surround yourself with competent people.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
That's
you
a
go.
competent person.
Right.
So you would want some of that person's skills to work with your other staff members.
That is true. That is true. That's why we have Margaret in the picture so we can make sure
You
that
know,
we
a lot
get
of
different.
times they spend all that time in college and they still come out and go in another direction.
Sure. Sure.
I was at a Waffle House on Northside Drive, and I looked at about 15 pictures of Georgia Tech graduate football players that are now Waffle House managers, and I could not understand that. If my son was at Georgia Tech to be an engineer,
Would I be
and
wrong
he
to
called
ask-
me and said, "Dad, I want to be a Waffle House manager," we can ready to have a problem.
Right.
But let me share something with you quickly.
Yeah.
Waffle House is one of the management programs at Harvard.
Wow.
What?
So
But
why
I
are
Waffle House,
they
they have a good program.
don't knock it.
You know who I wanted to meet? I wanted to meet the guy who talked them out of
Do
coming
they
out of
have
Georgia
dental
Tech.
coverage? That's what I
Georgia-
want to know
the
because
Waffle House
everybody at
got a good
Waffle House,
plan.
what's wrong with their teeth? I'm just saying, y'all go to Waffle House.
It's a
Oh,
two-tooth minimum, though. If you want to be a Waffle
That's
House
what it has to
manager,
be.
you
I'm
have to
not- I'm
knock out
just
at least
saying.
40s.
All that.
Yeah, but
right.
we can fix them.
We can fix it if you give us good dental coverage.
If you got all your teeth and you are a Waffle House manager,
Come
you're not
see
going to
me.
be there long. That let them
That's
know.
one
They
of the
say
prerequisites
she's
of-
stealing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
She
yeah,
got her
yes,
teeth fixed.
yes,
yeah,
yes, she's stealing.
Yeah, I think that's so important, though. Don't you?
Yes,
I mean,
yes,
when
it
people
is.
first see your appearance,
Yes.
your teeth are so important. Oh my! And you got a nice smile. Go there, you go. But look, your teeth are so important because if you're missing number 7. I'm gonna see it.
He doesn't know what number 7
Yeah,
which one is it?
This is your
That one?
lateral incisor right here. I didn't go with number 8
Right
and
in
9,
the
number 2
front.
front.
And the two
But this
fronts,
is the
8 and
one,
9.
8 and 9.
Okay,
But
I
the one
had to put
right
numbers
here,
on mine
and you
then, just okay,
smile,
that's
I'm gonna automatically think. People prejudge people.
Yeah,
They do.
They do.
Not me, but a lot of other people.
Yeah, you
they
do,
do.
you know.
You know.
Everybody does.
So
Yeah.
if you're missing number 7, I'm gonna think like, okay.
Okay. So now I know what number 7. I'm saying, look,
Right.
you missing number 7, but they ain't gonna know.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Better than missing number 9. Hey, the guy, our producer is calling me. We got to pay some bills again. We'll be right back.
Okay,
Dr.
my
Eberly
EBT card is running out.
Our next guest is Pastor DeAndre Ash of Extraordinary Baptist Church. Pastor, we've had a lot of conversation. This is my spiritual advisor. He kind of keeps me straight on some different things that I need a lot of help. He's saying he's laughing.
The best I can.
We're talking about the end of the year and getting prepared for the next year, getting our budget right for the next year. And I want to incorporate how important it is to pay our tithes.
Right.
Because when I don't pay my tithes, it seems just like my money ain't right. You know what I mean?
Right, and that's a controversial topic.
Yes.
In the church, outside of the church, especially in the black church.
Right.
Just a few years ago, a few mega churches were called to the carpet by Congress to reveal some of their financial information. And I think it's a good thing that most of those churches, all of them in fact, refused to do that because it blurred the lines between
Church and state.
Right, church and state. And so because there are theological insights or theological perspectives that some churches hold that may not match with a particular congressman or senator's view on church finances. So there was a conflict there. And so so you have certain mega pastors who preach about prosperity more than prosperity of finances more than they preach about prosperity
And
of the
that's
soul.
why I like your church, because we actually learn about the Bible. I
Right.
learned the story of Jonah. You assumed that I knew that story. I did not know. And then last week we learned about Shadrach, Meshach, and the
Abednego.
billy goat. Yeah, but we learned all that about the church. But when I just feel like if you're not paying taxes with the church and someone asks you to reveal, because if people ask me to reveal what I have,
Right,
I
right.
feel like I have to show it.
Right, and Extraordinary Church, we have literally an open door policy where a member or even a non-member can view certain portions of our financial
And that's the way it
statements.
should be, in my opinion.
Right, and people have to remember that a church has financial responsibilities and obligations just like any other organization. We have a payroll that we have to meet on the 1st and the 15th,
It's a business.
even though it's a nonprofit organization.
Right.
And so pastors have the responsibility to teach people how God's plan, as far as their theology goes.
Now, when you say nonprofit, I know the difference between nonprofit and profiting. Nonprofit does not mean that there's not a salary
Right, right.
going to different people.
Right,
And
right.
So, I mean, at the end of the year, we all know, just for the show, nonprofit just means you don't have money at the end of the year. It does not mean that those monies are
Right.
not being made.
There was a time in our grandfather's church when people would volunteer their time and their efforts.
Right.
But it's different today. We have to have financial statements. We have to have profit and loss statements. We need professional accounting. We need professional musicianship.
Right,
People
right.
want quality. When you go into, when I walk into a movie theater, I look around to gauge the atmosphere to see how things are set up. If you could choose your movie theater based on the quality of the setting, you know, people choose their church based on the quality of the setting. So it takes resources in order to offer a quality product to people.
Wow.
And tithing and offerings is the way, according to the scriptures, that the kingdom of God is promoted and that the things of God are taken care of. And so it is the responsibility of believers. But I think it's also important to underscore that tithing and offering does not neglect the blessing of God from your life. Because if you choose not to tithe, it does not remove the blessing of God. We're blessed because of the work of Jesus
But doesn't it seem like
Christ.
when you don't tithe, I don't know, you know, I'm sure you got a scripture for this, but when you don't tithe, you don't have as much. Just like in my book, Dr. Heavenly Business Prescriptions, I talk about giving first fruits.
Right.
And not only just money, but the first
Right.
fruits of your time.
Right.
It seems as though when you give the first fruits of your time, you have more time.
Right.
When you give your money, you have more money.
Right,
Now,
and that's the book of Malachi, chapter 3. It tells us to bring our tithes and offering to a storehouse, and there are promises that are attached to tithing. It says that God will rebuke the devourer. So the instances
What does
when you
that
feel
mean?
like you have holes in your pockets and you don't know where your money went,
Right.
God will make a way that you'll be able to retain what you make. It says that men will give to you, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So you'll be blessed and you'll receive in unexpected ways when those are promises that are attached to tithing.
it's very amazing how the different aspects of business relate to the church, even though the business people are not necessarily religious people.
Right.
Because in business, and I talk about this in my book as well, positive affirmations.
Right.
We talked about that before. Say it as though it is. You hear it. You have faith by hearing.
Right, right.
Speak it into existence.
Right.
And so many business, I go to classes all the time, not dental, but business, and their thing is vision statement.
Right, right.
Vision board.
Right.
Positive affirmation. I see you using that. Isn't that a
All the
business
time. All the time.
concept?
Indeed, and there are certain principles that are universal.
Right.
And so there are certain principles, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a Buddhist, whatever religion you subscribe to, there are certain principles that are universal. For instance, in Galatians chapter 6, I believe, it says, "He who sows sparingly will reap sparingly, and he who sows in abundance will reap in abundance." So regardless of who you are or where you're from, when you give a lot, you'll receive a
Right.
lot. And when you don't give a lot, you won't receive a lot.
And
So
that's true
universal.
for gratitude as well.
Indeed, indeed.
Right?
I believe that gratitude and thankfulness is a seed for more. Being grateful, it opens your heart, it opens your mind, it opens the universe for you to receive more. So gratitude is a seed. for more.
Gratitude is great because I did a dental free screening for a lot of people here in Atlanta. I don't know if I could say the company that I did it for, but I was so thankful that so many people were in my line. I mean, they weren't in the line to get asthma screenings. They weren't in the line to get high blood, and probably should have been, but everybody wanted the dental line.
Right.
And rather than
You're so
saying,
grateful.
hey, all these people in line, they ain't paying me nothing, I'm
Right.
doing these screenings, I was so grateful.
Right, and
that
you make a good
I was
point.
able to.
You make a great point. Providing a need it does something for the person you're helping, but it does even more for you. And even in the book of Ephesians, when Paul was encouraging believers to give, he talked a lot about giving. He promised that God would bless him, but the end result was that so thanksgiving would go to God.
Right.
And so when you offered your services, you felt grateful, but the ultimate goal was the glory of God. Those hundreds or thousands or dozens of people who you're in your line, it resulted in thanksgiving going to God. And so that's the end purpose of glory.
And not only that, it seems like to me, when you have gratitude and you give back, it used to take a long time for it to come back around. It comes back around quickly.
Exactly.
Tenfold quickly.
Exactly.
I mean, we got to pay some bills, but I'm going to finish this concept here. Look, after I finished it, the guy offered me a segment on his show.
Right.
I mean, and I did it. That's publicity out of this world, not for myself, but for my business.
Right.
And he asked me to come back next year and do a whole segment on dentistry. I want to thank my panel of guests today. I appreciate all of you for coming out. Thank you, Pastor Ash. He's Pastor Ash of Extraordinary Baptist Church at Extraordinary Church in Conyers. 1879 Smyrna Road. Your website.
Extraordinarychurch.org.
I was impressed by his website. And I want to thank our consultant
You're
here,
welcome.
Margaret McIntyre. She actually gave a different spin on the consulting of dentistry. And we want to thank our comedian, Sherman Goldman, who gave us some laughs and everything. And I want to thank you guys. Continue to follow me. Follow us. I'm on Twitter, Dr._Heavenly. And please check out my website and subscribe to my monthly e-newsletter at www.drheavenly.com.